Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming at you guys right now with a live 1 versus 1 battle featuring spawning in the north. It is going to be the Wehrmacht pieces of Luvnest. And spawning in the south, it is going to be the United States forces of Kanji. The map is going to be Crossroads, so it should be a close and brutal battle that we're going to be in for here. Been a while since Luvnest has graced the channel. He's, of course, again, one of the more well-known, successful, prolific, storied, characterful players on the scene. I haven't seen him play for a long time, so I've no idea what kind of state he's in. You have to think he's probably going to be quite good. Nice to see him repping the Wehrmacht pieces. He's even cracking out, let's see, who's this? The Lightning War Doctrine Commander. So there are the upgrades on your screen. Hit pause if you want to overview them in your own time. So I wonder what his plan is with this commander then. Relief Infantry. Okay, yeah, sure, okay. It's all coming back to me now. Looks like Kanji also going to go ahead and choose a commander for his very good self. He is going to go for Recon Support Company. Ah, yes, the Greyhound Commander, as I prefer to sort of know him. So, yeah. There we go. The stage is set. 2 players, 2 commanders, 1 map. Who's going to win? We're going to find out. So let's see. We've got a MG42 first here out of Luvnest, Grenadier, then Grenadier. So a relatively straightforward build so far. Nothing too crazy or divergent. And it is nice because Wehrmacht can now do crazy divergent stuff. There are a lot of commanders that you can take that let you skip out various parts of the tech tree. Wehrmacht teching. Just a much more flexible, organic experience, much less of a straitjacket, much less of a burden, and there's just more opportunities afoot there. So really nice that the game kind of works that way now. It makes it much more exciting to watch and play and cast. So that's fantastic. Ooh, we've got some, what are these? The INR Pathfinders coming out nice and early here from Kanji, looking to get some of the more specialised choices provided to him by his commander onto the field early. And as these 2 players move out and start actually playing the game, you know what, I meant to remember to say this at the start of the video, but I kind of got carried away with the players and everything. But yeah, I realised that on the last couple of videos I've put out, the audio has been a bit quiet. I'm not actually sure why that is, so I'm working through a couple of issues. For now, I've rebalanced the gain on my microphone. I hope it's not too loud, I hope it's not too quiet. If you think it's either, please do let me know in the comments. It's super useful to have some feedback. And also the game sound, just is it too quiet, is it too loud for you? I tend to have the game sound a little bit quieter than me talking because Company of Heroes 2 is quite a loud game. I mean, it does feature basically incessant gunfire and explosions, and that can be quite hard to sort of talk over, so I do tend to like turn it down just a little bit. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you think about the sound setup. Is it better, is it worse, is it like okay, is it too loud, too quiet? That's all useful information for me. Looks like some riflemen going to overstay their welcome, going for the cut-off, and that they will get. So going to deny some fuel. Nice mission there. Well achieved by those riflemen. They take some damage, but they're going to get out largely intact. So a good opportunity, well taken advantage of by Kanji there. Luvnest at the moment, though, making his presence felt on the map. He's going to have 2 of the VPs here momentarily, putting sandbags down in good places, and fanning out with his Axis units to grab the map. This MG42 being quite a thorn in his opponent's side. These INR Pathfinders, oh, they almost managed to sneak out of the arc. But these riflemen are actually in the flank, so this MG is going to be taking some fire. Grenadiers are here on support, but that's probably not going to stop this MG from being forced back. Wow, he bravely... Okay, he does retreat. I was going to say, that is quite brave not retreating that unit. And now we have 1 unit of Grenadiers against a lot of American forces. Here comes a Flammenwerfer toting squad of Pioneers, though. Is there going to be a chance for squad wipe on this rifleman's? I don't think there is. No, he's going to get out of there just fine. I mean, like, horribly scarred for life with vivid memories of his friends being murdered. But, you know, just fine. Just fine. We've got a captain. Hey, it's going to be a captain build. Kanji busting out something a little bit sort of deviant. This is not like the lion's share of the meta. Captain first openings, just a little bit rarer these days. So the BAR toting squad is going to be on the field. Going to see that captain take some names. In fact, I'm going to have to refresh myself with exactly what it is that the captain offers. So he offers the M1 anti-tank gun, the PAC howitzer, and the AA half-track. Okay, so no machine gun in that lot, of course. I'm just getting my head around that, because to be honest, it's been so long since I've seen a captain first opener, I'm not actually sure what American forces are supposed to do when they don't have access to the utility car, the 50 cal, and the Stuart. Like, I mean, it's no coincidence that Lieutenant has like dominated the meta. When you have those units available to you, that's just that. It feels like that's everything the American player wants in the early game, except for an AT gun. which the captain can offer later, but you can usually muddle your way through without the access to the AT gun using Zooks, and if you're lucky enough to have a Zook elite squad, such as Rangers or paratroopers, yeah, you can get some pretty good infantry-based anti-tank solutions. But we'll see exactly what Kanji's going to do here. I mean, he does have access to paratroopers a little bit later on, so maybe that's going to be his plan to deal with any Axis armor that may be coming. Panzer Grenadiers on the field here. They're going to be leading the charge into this American lineup. Behind this, so there is going to be a very quick AT gun. This is a very quick AT gun. This is like a pre-6 minutes. It's actually coming out before the 6-minute mark. So what's this for? You're playing against Wehrmacht. They have no light tank option. Maybe it's insurance against the potential for a 222. But I feel like the 222 you don't need such a strong response for. Maybe he just wants to close the door on any 222. Maybe he's had bad experiences with 222s recently. Okay, so here comes the AT. He's even going to reveal it. I feel like, okay, that feels like a mistake. Because if you're going to have this pocket AT gun, you really want your opponent to go for a 222. So now that he reveals it, I don't know about that. Anyway, Luvnest here, going to grab the cutoff, so Kanji, that's going to be slightly frustrating for him. He's missing out on a fuel point and a muni point, which is sort of turbo annoying. To add insult to injury, we've got some Grenadiers over here who are going to decap that fuel point at the very least, so that's frustrating. And you know what, actually, let's just crack the tack here as an MG42 gets set up on the US doorstep. This is a great opening for Luvnest, isn't it? Look at it, he has the majority of field control, he has his opponent cut off it. The US player is only gaining income from one regular point right now, which is not the place to be. Potential in danger of these Panzer Grenadiers, but they're going to get out just fine, so that squad going to live to fight another day. MG42 stays to deny this point for as long as possible, and Kanji, come on, whoa, every second that your troops are not moving towards this point. Kanji, need to capture this. Sorry, it's just, oh my god, every second he's not capturing this is just adding damage to the blow just dealt by Luvnest. So he definitely wants to reconnect that point ASAP. That he will do. Look at these cocky Grenadiers. They're getting in so close and grabbing these points. Man, Kanji really on the back foot. I'm not used to seeing this. Wehrmacht is just a new and revitalized faction, to be honest. The community balance patches have done wonders for them. Looks like we've got some tech here. The Leichter Mechanized Company has completed, and we're going to see a pack gun coming down at good timing. So Luvnest not going to leave himself open to the potential for some sort of vehicular harass. He does know his opponent's gone for a captain opener, so again, I'm slightly surprised to see this. Obviously, the captain precludes early access to the utility car and the Stuart. So this pack gun is definitely an insurance policy, and it's coming in quite early. That is the airdropped combat group coming in now. 350 manpower, 80 munitions, and it's going to drop... Oh, goodness me, my mouse is... Yeah, I still haven't replaced it. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. It's just it costs real money, and that's a problem. But anyway, so where's this combat group coming in? Okay, here they are. All right, so he's got the pack howitzer. He gets a second AT gun, or is that no? That's his first one. Okay. Ready for action. And he calls in a Greyhound. Immediately crews the pack howitzer, which every time I've seen this commander used in recent times on the channel, the American player tends to leave the pack howitzer in the base for a while. I don't know what that says about the efficiency of the pack howitzer, but I'm glad that Kanji here going to man that one as early as possible so that we can have a look at how it fares and how it develops if you pick it up at a timely manner at the early point in the game. Let's have a look at this unit. So you've got white phosphorus barrage, high explosive barrage, high explosive anti-tank barrage, high explosive barrage. No smoke until you unlock the white phosphorus, and then it costs muni. So curious that it doesn't have smoke. Yeah, the Americans do still have a mortar team. There we go. So that'll be where they get the smoke. Sorry, America, just like USF, not a faction I've played for like well over a year. I don't know what it is about the USF. They just don't seem particularly interesting or fun, like, personally to me, to a player. I love casting, I love watching them, I love seeing what players do with them, but when it comes to my personal play style, it's just, they're not for me. Having said that, the few times I do play as them, they feel strong as hell. It's great. Nice squad wipe coming together there for Kanji. So Luvnest there. You never want to lose your core infantry, but at least he lost it at like the pre-10-minute mark in the game. So he's going to have reasonable manpower income. He can replace that, and it should be just fine. Obviously, he'd rather not lose it, but yeah. Big step off is coming. So this Greyhound has actually still not seen combat. He's been keeping that one in his pocket for quite a long time. Again, possibly waiting to see a 2-2-2 and then ambush it with the Greyhound, but I don't know. The Greyhound's a useful unit. You probably want it out there vetting up. And it's going to join the field just now, finding a nice squishy lineup of Axis infantry, which immediately has to start thinking about repositioning based on the presence of this American light vehicle. The Pat gun is going to move into the hood and is going to get a nice shot here. Bonk, and that should ward off the Greyhound for now. Nicely done. But I mean, the lion's share of field control is still falling firmly in Luvnest's lap here. He has himself a fatty ticket advantage as well, 135 odd tickets. So the situation relatively dire right now for Kanji. This has not been the early game that you want to see as an allied player. And we're seeing extensive use of the G43 package being purchased onto these Grenadiers, and the Panzer Grenadiers, interestingly enough. Oh my goodness, another squad wipe. Okay, Luvnest, he got off to a great start, but losing 2 squads of Grenadiers. Look at this, he only has 5 units right now. So that's pretty dire. Look how many units the American player has. So this should be a great window of opportunity. Let's crack the tack. And we can see the American forces spreading out into a nice line, looking to grab field control, finally connecting up some resources and feeling comfortable moving around the map with a well-equipped, diverse army capable of taking on pretty much anything that Luvnest can muster right now. So a really nice moment here that Kanji has managed to defend and lead up to. He needs to grab. It would be great if he could get a triple cap going right now, because obviously the number one deficiency which he has in this game is the tickets, and that's going to force him to have to take some pretty bad fights if this game goes on. So I would love to see him poke down into the west and take advantage of a Luvnest who doesn't actually have very many units right now. Wehrmacht is quite an unforgiving faction, I find, when it comes to losing units, because most of your squads are 4-man, they're very brittle, quite easy to lose relative to like other faction squads, and they're not that cheap, and you rarely have the resources to spare. You always want to be saving up for Panzer IVs, or teching, or you know, there's just, it always feels like manpower is at a premium when you play as the Wehrmacht forces. So anyway, we're going to have a Panzer IV in this game. And that's going to help a lot, but we've already got paratroopers with Zooks. That's a bomb. Ooh, okay, Luvnest on top of it. He is going to exfiltrate that squad safely. Army's exchanging shells here at long range. The Greyhound gets seen off by the Pat gun. Panzer IV are going to arrive here in just a few seconds. And we'll have to see exactly how Luvnest is going to spend his money moving forward. He was lucky. He had good field control early on, so this is a relatively early Panzer IV, and that's going to be helpful. That's going to set him up nicely. But he is under a lot of duress here. Even with the Panzer IV, he's at 41 supply under 68. A really nice American roster here. Very scary, capable of doing just about anything Kanji would like to do at this point in the game. Luvnest desperately holding on, but he hemorrhages one more squad. He's down to just 4 squads in this game. Oh no, the Panzer IV going to expose itself immediately against these paratroopers who have the bazooka, and they have the the bazooka expert, which gives them increased range and damage, I believe. Damage and penetration. Okay, I thought he gave them a little bit extra range as well. I might be wrong on that. And now the Greyhound is here, actually, going to start picking away at this Panzer IV. Okay, the Panzer IV sees it off as well it needs to. Oh, Panzer IV on death's door here now. You don't want to take another couple of Zooks. Jeez, that was getting scary. And now Luvnest's position, you can see on the minimap, super compacted. Oh my god, I mean, if he can survive the next 5 or 10 minutes, his manpower income is like sufficiently high that, I mean, he can get back in this game. If you're going to be this far behind, you always want it to be earlier on in the game rather than later in Company of Heroes, but this is going to be so hard for Luvnest. Okay, so let's crack the tack. Luvnest decides to make a play for northwest of map. This is going to give him 1 fuel, 1 munitions, and 1 victory point. He has the victory tickets to where just bleeding at one per tick is like not too bad. So he's going to play for time here, and that's exactly what he needs to do. So this is a really savvy, very smart choice by Luvnest to just concentrate his units on focusing on this area of the field. He's going to go for replenishing another Grenadier squad, so that's the new choice here. So up to 2 Grenadier squad, 1 Panzer Grenadier squad, a Pat gun, a Panzer IV, and some Pioneers. A reasonable roster. I mean, it's functional. But, I mean, look at what he's having to deal with here. This is so scary. The MG42 was even captured as well by Kanji, so nice work by Kanji. Facing off against 2 MGs is going to be so grueling as this game goes on. This is one of those maps which is quite small, where 2 MGs, you can basically have an MG in every fight, no matter what's going on in the map. They provide just enough coverage for a map of this size. So that's pretty scary. Panzer IV doing its best here to look for some targets, but Zoot-toting paratroops are skulking nearby. They can just turn invisible. Is that like a Vet 1 thing, or is that like... Nope, that's just a paratroop thing. Nice. So here comes the Panzer IV committing into mid. And both forces just kind of brushing up against each other. No one's committing super hard yet. The American player decides he actually does want to make a point about mid. And actually no, how is Luvnest taking this fight? He actually breaks 3 American squads from the front there. Greyhound's going to come through to displace the Panzergrens and the Pioneers. The Panzer IV will come in to try and get some shots and force that one back. Somehow Luvnest decapped mid and gets away with it. Like, this is going to remain decapped for a little while. Look at the mini-map. Luvnest is somehow with a much smaller army getting work done, which is just amazing, to be honest. This Panzer IV has its first star of veterancy, which is crucial. That gives it the Blitzkrieg ability, I think it's called, yeah. He's well on his way to getting 2 stars of veterancy, which is probably the most important because that's the durability upgrade. Once you secure your Panzer IV at 2 stars of veterancy, it actually becomes much harder for that Panzer IV to die. And that's crucial. Once you get to 2 stars, you're much more likely to make it to 3 stars. I mean, for a number of reasons, but the armoured skirts are a big one. We saw a Panzer IV on the build queue for a moment there, but Luvnest thinks better of it. Going to cancel that one and save his money for now. Don't know what the thinking is behind that, we'll see. M1 anti-tank gun has the Panzer IV zeroed in, so it's going to have to reposition, and that it will do. Panzer Grenadiers trying for damage, but I think Luvnest is going to have to yield here. Too many Americans on the dance floor, all flooding out of the base, fully reinforced, fully healed up, and a lot of veterancy over a lot of these American units as well, making them pretty intimidating. Grenadiers on the right flank doing the best they can, but they find themselves under the arc of a German-made MG42, and they will have to fall back as well, so somehow Luvnest still has enough forces to make a play for mid, but the American player is like the stronger, he's like the brute in this game. He can, where the American player shoves, Luvnest really has to yield, and it looks like Kanji is going to shove into mid right now, and he should secure this VP, as well as like pretty much anything else he wants on the map. Yeah, going to grab this point. And yeah, Kanji just in a fine position here. The mid-game really looks to be his right now. Luvnest saving hard, so you have to think this is for the Tiger tank. Let's check the tech. So we've got the support armor core. We may see the heavy panzer core coming momentarily, because I believe you do need that in order to call in the Tiger. Oh no, it requires escalate to battle phase 3, so okay. We'll keep our eye out for that tech from Luvnest. So as you just heard, Major Tech has now finished for the American player. He can now spend his fuel on scary stuff. A Sherman would be fine on this battlefield. It would probably just provide some really useful flexibility and just more raw brawn for the American forces. And right now, raw brawn is definitely effective. Basically, all of these American units are able to bring their might to bear for value against Luvnest's depleted roster. And it is still a depleted roster. Wow. This Greyhound feeling so brave. It's actually going to come into the base looking for some more damage on those very fragile and almost destroyed Panzer Grenadiers. Cops a Faust for his trouble, but that's not too bad. He's going to be able to fall back and repair not too far away. So yeah, a little gambit there. Low risk, potentially high reward. Doesn't pay off, but you know, that's the great thing about taking low risk maneuvers. And we have a moment of quiet here. I am sort of amazed that Luvnest is able to control this much field, given the state of the game so far. I think Kanji... I mean, it's easy for me as a caster and us as observers to know just how bad Luvnest's position in this game has been, and just how strong, relatively, the force of the American player has been. But when you're Kanji, you know, these things aren't just, like, given to you. This is not free information. And as we all know, it does behoove you as an RTS player to play cautiously and not overextend. Generally, overextending is like one of the worst things you can do in any RTS, and especially when you have the lead. Good RTS players quickly learn how not to overextend when you have the lead, and Kanji definitely doing that. And that's fine, so I think that's why he's just like okay letting Luvnest have this portion of the map. He definitely could have pushed harder, but he doesn't know that necessarily, so... Wow, this is what I mean. Like, where he decides to push, Luvnest cannot hold. Like, he just can't. Like, the Grenadiers can only do so much in the face of this many Americans. And, yeah, the Panzer IV going to try and kite back here. Actually, it may find itself cornered by the Zook-toting paratroops, which is nasty. Gets that second star of veterancy, so we see the armoured skirts pop down on that unit. Really nice stuff there for Luvnest. So doing what he can with this Panzer IV. This has been a productive Panzer IV, so well done. But now his cutoff has been taken, and this is issues. It's fine sitting back if you have some resource income and a hope of getting back in this game, but if your resources are cut off, then the longer this game goes on, the worse things start looking for Luvnest. Who still remarkably has the ticket lead. He's made such plays for mid. He's been keeping Kanji so busy fighting for mid that there's never really been an assault on west as far as the victory points go. So that's been really, really good for Luvnest, and because of that, he still has like just a fine lead in this game, which means that, you know, in the later stages of this game, when his composition is looking a little healthier, yeah, he could be just fine. Speaking of composition, we've got a Jackson being added for the United States player, and you have to think that's a savvy investment. Like, it answers the Panzer IV so hard, as well as being decent insurance against a potential looming Tiger, which Kanji, of course, he'll be paying attention. He'll have seen the G43s on his opponent's units. He'll know that he could be facing a Tiger soon in this game. So the Jackson, a very sensible choice. I love seeing the Jackson first. It's really nice. I haven't seen a Sherman for a long old time. I don't really know if people are still using Shermans like that much. I mean, I've seen them in games, but I've not really seen them make a difference. They've always come out more or less as the game was ending one way or another and things like that. So I would like to see a Sherman, see what they're like these days. They do seem so cheap. I think they're like 110 fuel or something. Pretty good. Panzer IV here in a slightly risky position, getting picked down by a Greyhound and an M1 anti-tank gun. But Luvnest on top of that backs the Axis armor away. Let's check the base here. Battle phase 3 has completed, so the Panzer Kampfwagen 6 can be called in. Ah, and there it is now. Okay, so Luvnest has kind of built this game into a place where he has a fairly decent unit roster now. Look at this army in the top left, look at the army in the top right. Okay, there's a lot more red stuff here in the top right, but American forces always have a lot of units. Wow, hey, look at this, we're seeing the little cluster bombs. Holy, that looks devastating. Wow, that looks like it will actually eviscerate any infantry caught in there. How much does this cost? Only 110 as well, with like a 60-second-ish cooldown, like probably 70 seconds from the actual click. Yeah, seems good. Very cool. Not seen that one before. Very nice. Alright, so the Jackson's on the field. I believe it has been scouted. The Tiger comes right out into it. Oh, this is awkward. These two units just kind of like... Okay, finally the Jackson's going to reorientate and come on in. Thunking a shell into the front armor of the Tiger. That will force the big cat away. You can't keep fighting under the sights of a Jackson. You're just feeding veterancy onto that unit, and that is one unit you do not want to get vetted, sorry. So he did complete the tech tree as well, going for a lieutenant at some point. I wasn't watching, but he's done that at some point. Maybe, yeah, it looks like he did that a while ago actually. There's some veterancy on this unit. American forces are pushing hard in west, so the seat of Luvnest's power is going to fall soon, and he finds himself under a double, soon to be triple cap. That's tough. So Luvnest has the tools. Like, he's somehow preserved his core infantry. I mean, yeah, he lost 2 Grenadier squads early on, but he does have core infantry now. He has 3 Grenadiers, 1 Panzer Grenadier. You can't really ask for more, especially after the start he's had in this game as Luvnest. He has a Tiger tank. He has a Panzer IV with veterancy. This game is definitely okay. It's like within the realms of possibility. He has a ticket lead. It's just dealing with this American force is going to be so hard. As long as the American player is reasonably canny with his anti-tank resources, I don't really feel like the Axis armor can be leveraged for value. Because as soon as you come in, you're just going to start getting picked down, and Pioneers take so long to repair. Actually, I would love to see a second Pioneer squad. I know Luvnest is gasping for resources and cannot afford it right now, but now that you have 2 tanks on the field and you know your opponent has a Jackson, like, having 2 squads of Pioneers is just going to raise the efficiency of your armoured units so much. I would like to see that as an investment down the line, but we're going to see a second pack gun for now. Interesting stuff. I guess he has to know that his American opponent has had the lion's share of fuel income on the field. How does he still have West? What on earth happened in West? I totally missed that, but somehow Luvnest still has it. Perplexing. So, yeah, he still has West. Well, that's amazing. The score, as near as makes no difference, pretty much even now. And to be honest, the force composition's basically even. Like, these are two well-matched armies now. So it just comes down to these next battles and how the players navigate the choices open to them. Looks like Luvnest going to instigate things here by moving a squad of grenadiers onto the central VP. You know, I would actually, is that a stupid choice? I don't know. Luvnest is so low on fuel. I was going to say, I would love to see some kind of indirect fire. That's like the one thing that Luvnest's army is missing. Like a Panzerwerfer would be really scary for these American forces right now. Ooh, rifle grenade tags the M1 anti-tank gun. Doesn't find a squad wipe, but well played for there by Luvnest.
Take an MG-42 fire! Our supply line just got cut off. MG-42!
Panzer IV going to commit on the west, where Luvnest also has infantry capping. Very nice. Both forces just kind of exchanging fire and scuffling. Luvnest at the moment unable to secure mid, but he'd love to. His pack guns are a little bit clustered, which does leave them open to taking fire from this pack howitzer, which 2 stars of veterancy, 4 kills on that. Safe to say that's kind of been okay this game. It's probably been firing for about 20... maybe 18 minutes or something like that. I can't exactly remember when it came out, but yeah, it's done some work. I mean, it's done more than a Light probably would have. I've seen it be landing hits, just got another hit there. So that's cool. How is Kanji's position this compacted? Somehow Luvnest has just carved out so much of the map. Crucially, Kanji still has 2 of the VPs, but here comes an MG-42 to try and redress that. A second Jackson. Hell yeah! I love it. Definitely get 2 Jacksons. When your opponent is going for Tiger, like, get 2 Jacksons. It makes life so hard for the American player. Sorry, for the Axis player. So hard. Okay, so Luvnest tentatively pushing forward here. Some sort of barrage comes down. This is the Stuka close air support. Finds a Jackson. Good damage. Good damage. Lots of damage coming. Oh, wow. Does he get the Jackson? Wow, the Jackson's still alive at the moment, but on death's door, that Tiger laying out the damage, receives a star of veterancy for its troubles there. The Jackson desperately kiting away here. We're just going to assume that that one gets away safely. It should do. Really nice stuff there. American forces coming back very angry. The second Jackson reveals itself, but there's a Panzer IV and a Tiger here. The Panzer IV very weak. The Jackson can try for this hit. Gets it. Panzer IV knocked out. He has to get the Jackson here, and he does. Very nicely done. Hat gun and a Tiger tank. Going to slaughter that one. So a Jackson traded out for a Panzer IV here. How much does a Jackson actually cost? 145 fuel. Wow, they are more expensive than I thought. I mean, they're pretty good, so that's fine. I mean, Kanji could probably afford that, but you never really want to make that a trade. I mean, at least he got the Panzer IV, and there was a lot of veterancy on that Panzer IV. Actually, Luvnest's going to go ahead and replace the Panzer IV even. Okay, fine. Greyhound coming on just a Hail Mary run here. Looks like it might even get away. I don't know, depends if the Tiger's going to slap it here or not. Whoa, 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 this pack gun will eat you alive. Wow, this Greyhound being so cocky. Look how fast they are when they have 3-star veterancy. Wow, he totally gets away with that. It's just amazing. I mean, I kind of think I like... Luvnest has worked this game into a position where he definitely has the advantage. It's insane. In pretty much every metric. He has the lion's share of fuel income. He has the lion's share of field control. He has 2 VPs. He has a slight but increasing lead on his opponent. His composition is really nice. He's making it work. And, I mean, that second Jackson... I mean, I guess he felt compelled to come in and trade for damage, but I'm a little bit... I don't quite know why he felt like he had to do that, to be honest, because he hadn't lost the first Jackson. It was on a pixel, it was in disarray, but it wasn't lost, and Jacksons obviously are not rushing tanks. You're not supposed to rush them up and smack down enemy vehicles. It's an option, but it's not the optimal way to use them. You prefer to keep them back, chipping in damage and forcing the Axis armor to just sort of take damage over time and have to cycle out and get repaired. Basically, you use it to make Axis tanks just... their efficiency just nosedive. And if he'd have lost that first Jackson, if it was destroyed, then absolutely I feel like you have to try and come in and trade for one of the Axis tanks to try and stay at parity. Like, I can see the argument anyway, I'm not saying you have to do that. But he hadn't lost that Jackson yet, it was still alive. And so I feel like instead of coming in and bashing this Panzer IV on the nose, if he'd have like circled the Jackson in a sort of arc like this, taking additional shots and just doing more optimal Jackson type movement and behaviour, I feel like he might have been better, because now we're at the stage where he's back down to one Jackson under a Tiger and a Panzer IV. But now he doesn't have the... Okay, he does have the fuel for another fuel choice, but he doesn't have the manpower, so he doesn't have that choice available to him. And Luvnest is like just choking Kanji out here. He's not giving him a chance. He just keeps the pressure on with his ragtag Axis army of, I say ragtag, of elite, well-equipped grenadiers. How Luvnest was able to navigate the mid-game with his tiny army and still maintain basically constant possession of the west of the map, I'm just not quite sure how he did that. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. I'm like far from a very good or skilled caster, so that is totally probably why. He just was able to continually get the better end and still get efficiency out of his units, even though Kanji was like brute forcing around the map with a massive American army of really scary units. I feel like possibly Kanji was not active enough in capitalizing his advantage, as I've said before. So maybe that explains how Luvnest was able to find himself in this pretty sweet late game scenario, given how the mid game looked. To be looking like this in the late game is fine. Anyway, this Jackson's fully repaired, it's coming in, it's pressuring back the Tiger, sorry, that's the Panzer IV. Finding some good hits, but there's a pack gun here in support, and some grenadiers, so this is risky. Cluster bombs come down to force the pack gun to displace, and even catching some of the crew, somehow they survive. How is that? The Panzer IV gets, like, abandoned, actually, in all of that. Jackson on 2 stars of veterancy as well. Meanwhile, Luvnest firmly entrenched in mid, has a machine gun on overwatch of the victory point, lots of infantry here, the Tiger tank parked in situ where it will be useful in a fight, but is also being repaired right now as well, so just cunning and very nice positioning there. And
capture point is being overrun.
I don't know. Okay, so the Major is out on the western flank doing some stuff. I guess I would like to see some of the American army's infantry-based might head on out into the west of the map and try and spread Jove a little bit thinner rather than just sort of butting into this sort of position here the whole time. Perhaps? I don't know. This is a really tough situation for the American player. That Tiger tank as well, vetting up a treat, has its 2nd star now, so that gives it, improves accuracy and range of the main gun. Well, that's scary. I mean, it's pretty accurate, just hit that dude. And that dude. If you've just seen 2 of your mates get directly hit by an 88mm Tiger main gun, you probably want to move. Oh, good. Oh dear, that Tiger is on a sniping mission. Okay, for a second there, it was 3 for 3 hits on infantry. Not bad. Now he's just raking back the American units with the machine guns and the main cannon on this Tiger without really exposing it to any real harm. Where's the Jackson been in all this? Okay, it's being repaired. Hey, it's going to be a Panzerwerfer. I like this a lot. Is the Panzer IV still abandoned? It is still abandoned, so he can grab that. Looks like these Pioneers are going to start work on that now. No? No interest? It seems a little unusual that you would just leave a Panzer IV lying around. Most players would start repairing that. Okay, so they were just administering some medical support to the pack gun, and now they're going to start repairing it? Yeah, okay, that's fine. I guess I mean, that's fine. Prioritizing the veterancy on the fragile weapon crew is absolutely fine. And now, are we in a position where Kanji just gets choked out of this game? Is that what we're going to see? Panzer IV is getting repaired now. Panzerwerfer comes forward. Going to take its first barrage, perhaps? An awkwardly quiet game for 34 minutes in the game. There was a moment there where there were just no gunshots or actual conflict. And look, listen. That's the sound of no fighting. But the American forces are getting ready for the next assault. It's like, how do you break this position? I feel like Luvnest is super well entrenched now, brings the Panzerwerfer into a forward position, meaning any potential rocket barrage will be really nice. Remember, the American player has not scouted this yet, so that first barrage could come as something of a shock. If we see a grouped up American advance, okay. Was that
Strike down.
Where am I missing the rockets? Oh, here they come. There we go. Ooh. Okay, so we find some hits, 1 kill, a bit of veterancy on the Panzerwerfer. Not the best of barrages. What's the cooldown like on this thing? About 80 or 90 seconds from the click. Alright, so yeah, it's on Kanji now. He just has to... I mean, he still has all the tools he needs to get this done. He just needs to get it done. You have to take middle VP here somehow. At least. But if I was him, I mean, I would like to see him pressure more in west and just elsewhere, like send some flanking units around the map. And, you know, I haven't really seen this commander... Okay, the Greyhound has been great. How many kills on that? 17, 3 stars of veterancy. Yeah, the Greyhound's been really cool. He's been making good use of paratroopers. The INR Pathfinders have probably been doing cool things. Yeah, you can see they've sniped off a lot of dudes. So it's not, you know, he hasn't not gotten value out of this commander. I guess, I feel like this commander is out of tools. I guess the cluster bombs are really helping him. Oh my god, my mouse is just not cooperating. Alright, here comes another Stuka close air support. That might find the Greyhound. No, it's going to scurry out of harm's way just. But that's going to keep the American heads down for a while again. How long does this thing... Oh, sorry, how much does it cost? 200 munitions. Oh no, the Greyhound does get smoked by the Stukas. Oh no, that's so unlucky for Kanji. I think it was still firing its machine gun at something, possibly even the Stukas, which lit it up as a target. I don't know, I feel like Kanji's stuck right now. He's just spinning his tyres, he's grinding his gears. That's a worth a barrage. He's going to for sure pick up the MG. Oh no, he gets the AT gun, but the MG survives. Oh well, nice to wipe the veterancy on that AT gun. Force your opponents have to recrew. Now the Panzer IV feels bold enough to come forward, and it does pick up the MG42. That one also had a decent amount of veterancy on it, I think. Here comes the 2-star. Oh no, whoa, 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 this Jackson. Oh, whoa, what are we doing here? I don't like this from Kanji. That's not how you, this is not how you're supposed to use Jacksons. And that's going to be game. Wow, Kanji's sort of throwing it away a little bit there at the end, but yeah, this is just a game where Luvnest's skill and determination... Okay, so here, let's break this down. He had a really nice opening. He looked dominant for the first few minutes of the game. Absolutely fantastic. Then he suffered a couple of Grenadier squad wipes, and his army was very small. He opted not to replace those, going instead to save for a Panzer IV. A risky, but prudent choice, it turns out. The Panzer IV came onto the field and it was one of the 5 units, I believe, that he had. And then he had to play the underdog position for quite an extended portion of the mid-game, basically the entire mid-game. But he was able to shepherd this area of the map, just using his existing Grenadiers and the Panzer IV to push and poke and whittle down any American advances. We saw a number of times when Kanji just decided to shove in with like 5 hardcore American squads, and Luvnest just had to get out of the way. Like you cannot stay and fight that. You'll just lose your unit. So we did see a lot of times he had to fall back all of his infantry, and I remember there was a moment where he had to fall back a lot of Grenadier squads from a fight in this position, and the Panzer IV was alone retreating on a line somewhere up here towards the sort of northwest of the map. But for some reason, Kanji was never really able to secure that ground. He never really accessed this victory point. He never really cut off the fuel for any meaningful duration in the mid-game, either by cutting off this or by taking the all-important cutoff point. So I feel like Kanji, perhaps not quite aware of how far ahead he was in this game. I feel like there were moments when his army was just so strong. If he'd have thrown his weight around a little bit more, he could have just sort of crushed Luvnest off the map a little bit more. And because Luvnest was able to just look after this area of the map, he had enough fuel income to go for a Tiger, and he had enough of a ticket advantage where he wasn't being forced to take bad fights in the late game at all. Like I mean, there was no ticket pressure being exerted whatsoever, so that's fine. And then he finds himself in a composition where he has the Tiger, he has the Panzer IV, he's managed to replace and regenerate his core infantry, so he's able to just be active on the map with well-supported units, and he's Luvnest, so that's a position from which he's very, very comfortable, very capable, very skilled playing from, and he has pushed that advantage into a win here very handily. I like his composition. Panzer IV into Tiger Tank into Panzerwerfer seems fine. Remember, he lost one of his Panzer IVs. I think he lost one of his Panzer IVs. Or was it just decrewed here? was a Panzer IV actually destroyed in this and he had to build a second one? I don't think so. So anyway, yeah, all of these units serving their function, being really nice. This is a nice end-game composition to aim for Wehrmacht on a map of this size, when your opponent isn't doing anything particularly unusual. So yeah, Luvnest guiding this game into a really safe, secure, just competent endgame. And then the endgame just basically consisted of this middle victory point being the American player's problem, and it just really felt like there was no point where Kanji was able to find a solution for that problem. There was usually an MG42 on constant overwatch with supporting infantry, and the Tiger tank just being active around this area made this a very difficult proposition for Kanji to come in and deal with. Now, I like Kanji's choices when it comes to his fuel spending. I actually think that the Greyhound was sweet, provided value all game, possibly could have even provided more value if he was being more active with it, I don't know. And the first Jackson, again, really like it. The first Jackson was built onto a field where there's just one Panzer IV, but I mean, a Jackson can hamstring the efficiency of a Panzer IV so hard. It's a sweet choice. I like it. And the second Jackson, I also really like, but we never really got to see like what a double Jackson composition is supposed to deliver, because more or less around about the time the second Jackson was coming out, he decided that he had to come in and trade. And I don't agree with that decision. I think if tank destroyers are always more long-term investments in this game. You have to look after them, you have to give them opportunities to fire for extended durations and score efficiency over a longer period of time. And that's not really reflected in the way we saw Kanji use his Jacksons in this game. He felt compelled to come in and trade one of them for a Panzer IV. Okay, yeah, no, one Panzer IV did die somewhere around here, didn't it? Maybe that's its wreckage there. Anyway. And then he felt compelled to come in and trade a second Jackson here at the end of the game. And the first trade, I just think, was like a bad call, and that's fine. The second trade was, I mean, he was putting out his Jackson moved from like here to here in front of a Tiger, a Pat gun, and like supporting infantry and a Panzer IV. That is way too much fire for a Jackson to take. They are tank destroyers, and the way they're balanced in this game is that they are more fragile than mainline battle tanks. And that's just not a move that is ever going to go well. And I just don't feel like Kanji was really pressured hard enough where he had to make that call. And he's kind of left this game where he still has like ridiculously strong infantry, ridiculously well equipped. He even has a lot of fuel in the bank, to be fair. I think this game was just really, it was very well played for Kanji, but for two things. Not quite capitalizing on the extent of his advantage in the mid-game, which is forgivable. Like I've said, overextending is the greatest of sins for RTS players. I can totally respect that Kanji just didn't quite eke out the maximum advantage that he could have in the mid-game. It takes a very skilled, very good player with many hundreds of hours of experience to do that. The second thing was the way he used his Jacksons, just not quite refined enough. Doesn't quite reflect the way those units are optimized to be used, in my opinion. And because of that, has suffered in the late game. So a really well played game from both players, fantastic to watch, very entertaining. And Kanji, you know, if he sticks at this and just plays, I mean, it's just a matter of having more hours under your belt, in my opinion. I'm sure he will be able to give Luvnest a much better game another time. And who knows, perhaps these guys play all the time. I'm sure he's probably taking games off of Luvnest. I mean, his play here was pretty damn high level. So yeah, cool. Yeah, that was a groovy battle. Thank you very much for watching, and this for now is Magpie842 signing out.